Welcome back to the Milwaukee Show, and today we are going to be talking about game number 1 between the Ottawa Senators and the Toronto Maple Leafs, also known as the Masters to the Ottawa Senators, as they blow them out of the water 6-2, getting game number 1 and shutting down all the haters, including myself, for the Toronto Maple Leafs as they start their campaign for what may be their second series win in the last 9 years. Which is crazy, but we'll talk all about it in a second. But first, you should subscribe, because it'll make you happy, because you get to see more of me, and it'll make me happy. So it's a win-win, so you should subscribe real quick right now. Anyways, let's talk about the actual video. So, Toronto Maple Leafs 6-2 win, of course, being led by Mitch Marner's 3-point performance with a goal and 2 assists. Matthews getting 2 assists on the ice. And, of course, I can keep going down the list. Nylander with 2, Matthew Knies with a goal. It was a tremendous night for the Toronto Maple Leafs. The power play was just eating up. Like, they were eating like that. There was like a fat guy at a freaking Golden Corral. It was eating so down, right? So, the Toronto Maple Leafs were looking pretty impressive, right? They were doing so good last night. Toronto, like, they owned, right? They capitalized when they could on the power play or any of their chances. They didn't really let anything go to waste, and clearly they won 6-2. And all the top guys, right? The guys that we questioned, Mitch Marner, Matthews, Knies, Nylander, Tavares, everyone showed up tonight. I couldn't really... I mean, it would be wrong to criticize anyone truly. Like, anyone can find anything to nitpick about. But, like, Matthews, he didn't get a goal. Didn't really look too crazy good on offense. But, he still got, what is he? He didn't need to, right? He got 2 assists on the ice. They got 6 goals. He was on the ice for a lot of them. He looked damn good as well. So, really, offensively, those question marks are fine. They get the good little check off. And Stolarz, right? Defense was looking good, which... not perfect, but good. And Anthony Stolarz, he was good too. And I'm going to cut ahead a little bit to my third little dash there of the commentators. They were freaking sucking off Anthony Stolarz and the Maple Leafs, Buccigross and Weeks, I've got to say. I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't know if this is not a very popular one, but I hate Kevin Weeks and Buccigross. I think those two are two of the... ESPN as a whole, at least here in the States. I don't know what in Canada, what you got, and whatever ways of watching it is. But for me, my only way of watching is ESPN. Their commentators suck across the board. I don't know if I ever actually have a happy experience with the commentators. Maybe the Minnesota Wild and Vegas game. That one's like an okay, but like not the worst. But like, these guys were just talking so good about Anthony Stolarz and the Maple Leafs. Kevin Weeks at one point literally said that this game might be spelling the end of the series for the Senators. Like, they already won. If there's a single team we cannot single out after a great game 1 session and winning the series afterwards, is the Toronto Maple Leafs. How many series in the last 9 years in a row have they gotten in? Have they won from winning game 1? Or should I say having a series lead and then winning the series? Or dropping it? Yeah, I don't think so. The Maple Leafs are a team we can never trust after one single game. Especially Toronto, in Toronto. And it's the Senators. They're the virgins to the playoffs. Like, come on. Now, after all that being said, Toronto did play a great game, and the sucking off was a little bit too much. But what was a little bit too much was the reffing. Now, it did not kill the Ottawa Senators last night. They were not killed by the referee's decisions, but they definitely were getting poisoned, right? And I think if you're crazy, say otherwise, right? PK Subban, his one take about that one, the Stützle one, which was ridiculous, okay? That Stützle hit being a penalty is actually ridiculous. Like, I don't know in what world in a playoff game that counts as especially after how the game had been going too. Like, I just feel like that was definitely a penalty, should never have been called. But then the other one, I forget who the penalty was on, but the one on Yarncroc when he had the puck, lost it for a quick second, and then got the big hit in the defensive zone, that one to me was another one that really crossed the line. I was like, seriously? Like, seriously. Like, Yarncroc literally had the puck. I can't really have a good way of showing it. But he literally had the puck and then kind of like lost it for a second and had to go and regain it. Then it gets laid up. And then that's an interference. Or they called it tripping or something. It was one of the two, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, how is that a penalty? And I also think the one on Matthews where the cross check into the boards, Weeks was like there's like 137 million thousand ice rinks around in 25 miles of this rink, and everybody knows that that's a penalty. Everyone knows you never go for a cross check like that. But come on, Matthews literally just fell to his feet. The guy is 6'3". He's got a good frame. You're telling me that in a playoff game he has fallen to that? Come on. Seriously, come on. So the reffing was definite, and then of course the Maple Leafs were huge on the power play. I think they were, oh god, I'm gonna look horrible by getting this wrong, but they got a handful of their goals from the power play, right? And I mean, when you have so many power play minutes, so many power plays, it is just killing the Senators, and they just can't get out of the hole, and they keep digging it in themselves, right? They do keep digging a hole and getting some penalties and doing plays that should be like, come on, hold back just a little bit, and that is a fair point too. But to me, it is the reffing was a little too lenient, and the Leafs extremely benefited from that. But I will say, I got to critique Toronto going forward in this series, because right now, I think it is now the Leafs series. From this game alone, I do think it's the Leafs win. I think the Senators need to really find a good game in them. Ullmark was extremely depressing to watch. The defense I mean, it's kind of hard to say the defense because the game never really got rolling, because once, like, that first period was the Senators, I would say they edged out the Maple Leafs, even though the score was would say otherwise, but it was definitely like almost even, a little bit more towards the Senators, but still a good first period. But the second period and on, it was just Toronto, and Ottawa getting penalties. They couldn't get their feet going, and it was just never a close game to really, like, call it. You know, if next game the Senators are able to hold back and get no penalties, it'll be a completely different game, and I don't know what to think from going in that point. But Ullmark looked horrible, and the little bit of time the Senators did have to actually play 5-on-5 in the offensive zone, Stolarz was hot. But the defense of the Maple Leafs was questionable. They had a lot of giveaways. The one by Shane Pinto I forget, was it the first or second period? Whatever. The one where it was like a clear, wide open pass. If that was anybody, if that was Tkachuk, if that was Batherson, if that was Giroux, if that was anybody else except I feel like Shane Pinto, they would have buried that one. And but Stolarz is able to come up with it. And a lot of those shots too. There was the one where they were really raving about it after they shot it and went right into Anthony Stolarz. It was just a bad shot. I think it was Stützle. I think he had a bad shot. It literally just went right into his chest, and like it could have been a great chance. Like, I feel like the Senators, like I said, they're new to the playoffs, inexperienced in the playoffs, not there for the occasion, but also just the game couldn't get going. And for me, the Maple Leafs didn't look too impressive. They did what they needed to do. They got the job done that they needed to get done. But going forward in this series, I still have questions. If the Senators are able to hold back in Game 2 or just throughout the rest of the series and are able to play a decent 5-on-5 game, when it was 5-on-5, it was close. And the Senators had a lot of good chances that Stolarz was shutting down. It was not due to the defense. Stolarz was hot. He was covering all the right places. And it'll be fun to see what happens in a closer game if both goalies can actually hold up their end of the bargain. But if Ullmark played the way he did tonight, I don't know. He looked horrible. But once again, Toronto Maple Leafs, they dominated. They destroyed, and they changed my opinion. I thought this could be the Senators in 7. I think this is going to be the Leafs in 6. I just think this is a series for the Maple Leafs. It looks like they look hot. They look like this is like contract years for some guys, that they're really going to be playing hard out there. And I think not Stanley Cup worthy, but against the Senators, I think they win this series. I changed my opinion, and I know it's just one game, but I still think it is a close one. It could go either way in my head still, but the Leafs, I think they have that edge, and they're going to have that edge going into Game 2, home ice still. And I think they could get 2, and if they win 2-0, I think series with a 2-0 lead is 87% or something like that of winning. You just got to go with the odds there. So for me, that's all I got to say. Toronto, great game. I think Game 2 they're going to pick up the win as well, but it'll be a closer one, but not close enough for the Senators. So that's all I got to say. So thank you for watching this. I hope you have an amazing day. Subscribe, please. Too sweet. And ta-ta for now.